27-year-old Rishi Kanal was pulled out of the debris after being trapped for more than 80 hours.
I had some hope, but by yesterday I'd given up. My nails went white and my lips cracked. I'd lost all hope since yesterday, and I was sure no one was coming for me. I was certain I was going to die.
Nepal is on war footing, its Prime Minister said. He's been visiting the crash sites in Kathmandu, and both he and his men have appealed for support.
We are working from the early morning to the evening, continuously, incessantly. So what we expect is we need more international community support. That's all.
Help did arrive here an hour later, a French rescue team. But Nepal needs many more as it runs out of time to save its people.
You need to remind Kathmandu, along with those in the capital waiting for help, there's a large number who are deciding they have no option but to leave. This report from the BBC's Sanjoy Majumdar.
This is the main bus station in Kathmandu. It's called Gangabu. And from here you can take a bus to go to virtually any part of this country and even to India across the border. And there are hordes of people here, all crowded around. There are a number of buses as well. And they're all extremely packed. There are people inside, but also many on the roofs. And there are others trying to force their way in, even though there is absolutely no space left.
I'm going to my hometown. I have been waiting for a bus since the morning, but there are no tickets and no one is giving us any information. There's so much confusion. I don't know what to do.
I am going Java. This is my home. I'm coming from Malaysia. I am waiting for the bus, but I cannot get. It's very difficult to go back home.
When do you think you'll get a bus?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've just come out of the bus station and you can see a steady line of people still coming in, carrying their bags with them. They're all trying to leave town, but it's going to be a while before they're able to.
Sanjoy Majumdar in Kathmandu. Now, here's a headline you don't often hear. Major change has happened in the leadership of Saudi Arabia. The reason it's the story today is that the country's new king has announced a major cabinet reshuffle and appointed a new generation for the succession. King Salman has moved quickly. He himself only came to the throne in January when his half-brother Abdullah died. The new crown prince is the Interior Minister Mohammed bin Nayef, a relative stripling of 55. The deputy crown prince is Salman's son, Mohammed bin Salman. The defence minister who's been overseeing the air campaign against Houthi rebels in Yemen, and in Saudi terms, a real youngster. He's thought to be just in his early 30s. The Middle East analyst Gerald Butt says these are extraordinary times for a conservative country.
In the past, decision-making in Saudi Arabia, and particularly the appointment of key positions, senior positions in the monarchy, have been taken very slowly. There have been one appointment made, then a long delay, and perhaps another, while a big consultation process was going on among the family. But what we've had since the end of January, when King Salman came to the throne, is a succession of appointments across the board, but significantly very senior ones as well. And immediately he came to power, he brought in the younger generation into key positions, and over the last 24 hours he's made yet more astonishing appointments that have really changed the shape of the monarchy and certainly changed the whole succession shape. So this is Saudi Arabia acting in a way that we just haven't seen before, and that's why I find it astonishing.
So a younger generation is being put in place for the succession. In terms of their approach to politics, to diplomacy, what can we learn?
I think we're seeing already that they are much more energetic and much more prepared to take decisions quickly. There was a decision, for example, a key one recently, to launch the airstrikes on Yemen. Again, very out of character for Saudi Arabia to get involved in a regional conflict. In the past, it's preferred to be quietly there in the background, trying to use its influence, maybe using its oil money to try and persuade parties to the negotiating table and so on. But here was I see the young generation saying, we've got to take action now.
shouldn't conflate somebody from the younger generation necessarily with somebody who's reform-minded. I mean, the Crown Prince Mohammed, who is the Interior Minister and now the sort of the named successor to King Salman, he's no liberal, is he?
No, and I think what we have is an atmosphere in the region, and it's reflected in Saudi Arabia, of great crisis. The crisis, in particular, originating from the strength of the Islamic State, the jihadists in Iraq and in Syria, and the fact that they are beginning to permeate the Saudi borders. This week, the Saudi authorities have arrested over 90 people who are alleged to have been associated with IS, with the Islamic State. And so there will be, I think, a major effort to crack down on security. And in that atmosphere, it's very unusual in any country in the Arab world to see reform coming onto the agenda. People will say, this is a time of crisis, this isn't the time to be dealing with reform.
What is the significance in terms of a commoner, a non-royal being appointed foreign minister?
I think here it's the character involved that's important. He is the kingdom's ambassador, Al-Jubair, that is the Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the United States. He knows the United States extremely well. And I think at a time like this, with a crisis in the region, and in particular with what the Saudis are alarmed to see the possibility of an agreement between the international community on the one side and Iran on the other, over the nuclear issue. Mr. Al-Jubair is known to have a hard line in terms of his attitude towards Iran. I think his job will be to lobby groups in the United States to try and prevent Iran being brought back fully into the international community in a way that it would be a major regional player in the Middle East, because that's at the top of Saudi Arabia's foreign policy agenda, is to stop Iran's siege expansionism.
That was the Middle East analyst Gerald Butt. Don't forget that if you can't always catch us live, we are live. You can frequently hear me making a mess of things live. If it weren't live, it'd be far more polished. Do subscribe to our podcast where you can hear recordings of me making a hash of things live. What you need to do is stick BBC News Hour podcast into your search engine, and you need never be without us.
Distribution of the BBC World Service News Hour is supported by Arizona State University, with more than 70 campus degrees to choose from, all offered 100% online with 6 start dates a year. Learn more at online.asu.edu. And by Wix.com, giving millions of business owners the ability to create their own professional website. You can create a website today online at Wix.com.
Support comes from the Bread Garden Market, where food lovers shop. Located downtown Iowa City, featuring house-made specialties, gourmet foods, and a newly expanded wine bar. Open daily from 6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. More at breadgardenmarket.com.
We're hosting an open house at the IPR Studios in Cedar Falls on Wednesday, May 6th from 4:30 to 6:30, and you're invited. Come see the studios, meet staff, and hear the acoustic sounds of Red Rock Hill live in studio concert. See you there.
One of Washington's most moving memorials almost didn't get built.
Why is it that every monument in Washington is white, but this one's black? Every monument is rising, this one is buried.
The story behind the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and the story of the first Vietnamese American general in the U.S. Army on the next Morning Edition from NPR News.
Morning Edition, weekdays from 5 to 9 on Iowa Public Radio.
BBC News. French prosecutors are investigating alleged child sexual abuse by French soldiers serving in the Central African Republic. The inquiry was opened on the basis of documents supplied by a senior United Nations aid worker who's since been suspended. The UN says it has carried out an investigation into the allegations, but there's been no word of the outcome. In an historic speech to a joint session of the U.S. Congress, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has expressed deep remorse for Japan's aggression during the Second World War. Mr. Abe received warm applause when he offered his condolences for the Americans who died in the war and admitted Japan had caused suffering to the peoples of Asia. Russian